Good afternoon, everyone. We will start in 2 minutes. Okay. So kindly contact the rest of your class to log in already.
Speaking of Ginebra fans, nandito rin yung nabangga nung last year against Converse.
Okay, so good afternoon again. So let's start with the orientation for the course Community Medicine. I hope you had a good vacation, a good Christmas vacation. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes po, Doc.
Community Medicine, yung nakalagay.
Yes po.
Okay. So this will be an orientation for the course Community Medicine. This will be the last course for the Department for Preventive and Community Medicine before you go into your clinical clerkship program. In your clinical clerkship program, you will still encounter us. So you will have 1 month rotation with us in the community. So for the outline of the orientation, I will first introduce the faculty, then provide you with the course objectives and description, the course outline schedule, the method of evaluation, and this will be followed by question and answer later on. So these will be the faculty for the Department of Preventive and Community Medicine. I'm sure you're already familiar with all of these faculty. You have seen them for the past 3 years. We do not have a new faculty with us, but we do have a guest lecturer that will give you a lecture on the Philippine health situation next week. That will be Dr. Jean Esperos. Dr. Jean Esperos is a faculty from the UP College of Medicine, Department of Community Medicine also from UP. Okay. So we'll give you a lecture on the current Philippine health situation. So we have Dr. Penny, Doc Edgy, Doc Christian, Doc Lisa, Doc Ayla, Doc Catherine Kat Dukili, Dr. Cookie, Dr. RJ, me, Dr. Chen, and Torete. When you go to the community on your 4th year, so you will meet Dr. Rani, Dr. Kenneth, and Dr. Kress. But they will also have a lecture with you this semester for the interview with the barangay health workers. These will be your course coordinators. These are the same course coordinators that you had for your research projects research projects 2 last semester. So the chair of the 3rd year course coordinator for Department of Preventive and Community Medicine is Dr. Ayla Piensuidi Torres. I think she's here. Dr. Ayla, nandito ka naman ba? Parang nakita kita
Yes po, sir. Yes po.
So yes, Doc Ayla. Then she is ably supported by Doc Penny and Doc Cookie. Parang nakita ko rin si Doc Cookie dito kanina. Doc Cookie
Present,
rin
sir.
siya ba?
Good afternoon.
Ayan, si Doc Cookie. Si Doc Penny wala. So if you have any issues, any problems with the course, you can contact any of these 3. Ayan. So nandiyan yung mga Viber number nila, nandiyan din yung email nila. So if you have any problems, any issues, any doubts, confusions regarding the course, please contact any of the 3. So for the course objective, is to prepare the medical students, especially the 3rd year medical students, for his or her expanded role as a community physician who espouses the primary healthcare approach. This course, community medicine, will be a preparation and a backgrounder for your community medicine rotation on your 4th year, and for your community medicine rotation also for your internship if you're going to have your internship here at UERM. Okay. So the internship is 2 months, clinical clerkship is 1 month. So all of these is a preview of what we expect that you will do during your clinical clerkship and during your postgraduate internship in the community. So preparation lang lahat to. Terminal competencies at the end of the course, all you students should be able to identify and prioritize the health problems of a community. So we will have a workshop on this one. We will provide you with a situational analysis of a particular community. So we call that community as CTUERM. And then you have to analyze the health problems of CTUERM and then prioritize what will be the health problem that you will need to tackle and give a program, formulate a program for. Okay. And then next, after you have prioritized the health problem, you will now formulate and develop a health program plan in the context of the problems as identified and perceived by the people and taking into consideration the limited resources available in the community. So when you create your program plan, you have to make sure that all of these are something that you can do as a postgraduate intern or as a clinical clerk. Okay. So during your clerkship and your postgraduate internship, we also expect you to have one major program to be formulated and implemented in the community. So kaya sabi ko sa inyo, training lahat ng 3rd year na to. Okay? But for now, hindi actual community yung gagawa niya ng program, but yung CTUERM that we will introduce dun sa number 1. And then, next, you need to develop a basic curriculum for training community or barangay health workers in primary health care. This training curriculum will be based on the problem that you have identified and prioritized and in which you have formulated a program plan. Okay, so part of the program plan that we will formulate should be a health teaching education or health promotion for the barangay health workers. Okay. And after all of these, some parts will also discuss and apply the basic principles and methods of administering community and public health services. We will teach you about public health administration, about the different health services, and about the different health programs of the community. Okay. We'll also teach you something about health economics, how to make sure that you will be able to compute for cost effectiveness, cost efficiency analysis, and so on. Okay. So for the course description, we will have lectures, we'll have workshops, small group discussion. We will have a simulation exercise. This will be the penultimate activity that you will have for the course community medicine. We will simulate a health education and promotion activity wherein you're going to teach barangay health workers regarding the program that you have implemented. Okay. And we will have formative exams. The formative exams will not be graded. These are the unit exams. This will be online. So, pero some of the items that will be given in the formative exam will also be given in the long exam. So, parang bonus na item na to sa inyo para sa exams. Okay? So, make sure you make good in the formative exams. For our resources, we have our manual, our textbook. We have lecture notes and PowerPoints and reading materials that you can also download from Canvas. So we cannot incorporate all of the reading materials dun sa textbook kasi pag in-incorporate namin lahat yun, yung text more than 10,000 pages, hindi nyo na kayang buhatin yon. So some of the reading materials will be uploaded dun sa Canvas. This will be the course outline and schedule. So let's make this an informal lecture. If you have any questions, if I'm going too fast, please just unmute, butt in, and say your piece. Okay? Hindi ko kayo nakikita. Trinos ko yung video, so kasi nakaharang siya sa PowerPoint. So if you have any questions, just butt in at any point in time. Okay? So for the first long exam period, so this does not necessarily mean that all of these will be the topic for the first long exam. I will give you the topics for the first long exam later in the slides, okay? So this is just the first long exam period. So for today, we will have the course orientation followed by the lecture of Dr. Bitita on primary healthcare and UNSDGs, okay? Then on January 13, we will have a lecture on the Philippine health situation and universal healthcare law. Mind you, we also have the Philippine health situation in your textbook. Okay, so what's the difference? What will be the difference? The Philippine health situation in the textbook is the Philippine health situation based on Philippine records and data. Okay, so yun nandun. The Philippine health situation that Dr. Jean Esperos will tell you is yung other side of the coin. Okay, so ito yung actual health situation above and beyond the data and the records. Okay, so this is what is actually happening at the grassroots level. This is what is actually happening in the community na hindi nakikita sa mga records. Okay, so yun yung ibibigay sa inyo ni Dr. Jean Esperos. So make the most out of the lecture of Dr. Jean. You'll learn a lot from Dr. Jean Esperos. So prepare your questions already. So I would suggest read on the current issues right now regarding Philippine health. So ano yung mga current issues natin ngayon? We have the MyPIF. I'm sure you're all aware of the MyPIF. We have yung PhilHealth issues, yung pagtanggal ng pera sa PhilHealth. And the issues right now regarding doctors, yung professional fee. Binaba natin yung mga professional fee ng mga doctors. The issues regarding the problems of lack of access of healthcare still in the Philippines, in the community. So all of those, be ready with questions to Dr. Jean Esperos. Okay. And on January 20, we will have the community organizing alternative healthcare, health in the hands of the people. We will teach you, Dr. Adukili will teach you about the different ways of community participation from clinic-based to community-managed health programs. Okay? And we will give you good examples of how these types of community participation was done in different areas in the world. Okay? And on January 27, on week 4, we will have our first workshop. So on this workshop, we will teach you how to do nominal group technique and how to prioritize community health problems. So as I've told you earlier, we will give you a situational analysis of country UERM. Then we will work as a group, identify the different problems and prioritize what problem are you going to solve in the community. This is actually being done also in the community when you go into your clerkship and your internship, ginagawa natin yan. I'm sure you still remember yung community diagnosis in your first year. Yung batch nyo is yung batch na nakaabot ng community diagnosis, right? Kasi yung last batch yung hindi kami nag-community diagnosis eh. Tama ba? Still remember, we brought you sa community during your first year?
Yes po, Doc.
Yes po, Doc.
Ayan. Tapos nag-interview kayo sa community, di ba?
Yes po.
Ayan. So, yun yan. So, on your clerkship and your internship, gagawin nyo ulit yun. Mag-i-interview kayo sa community and then you will get all of those data and yung magiging situational analysis of the community. So, after nyo makuha yung situational analysis, you will then prioritize the problems and present them to the community during a community assembly. The difference with what you're going to do in our classroom and what will be done sa community, yung community ang magno-nominal group technique. Sila ang mag-identify at magpa-prioritize ng problem. But if you do not experience how to do this, hindi niyo siya may tuturo sa community. Kaya ituturo namin siya sa inyo ngayon dito sa third year, yung nominal group technique. Para pagdating nyo ng clerkship, alam niyo siyang i-implement sa community, how to do nominal group technique and how to prioritize the problem of the community. Okay? After that, on February 3, we will have a lecture by Dr. Kalimag again on the 6 building blocks of the WHO and the social determinants of health and the biopsychosocial approach. Then on February 10, Dr. Rafuki will give you a lecture on program planning. This is sort of a small group discussion, then SDG and workshop for you, pero hindi nyo gagawin yung workshop sa classroom. Actually, pwede kasi hindi naman tayo actual. So, pwede kayo mag-workshop sa classroom. Pero you're on your own, on your workshop na. For the program planning, we will teach you how to formulate a program plan. Okay, so, this will be per group na. Okay? Per subgroup. Okay? As you can see, merong 2 unit exam for the first long exam. So, that will be on January 10, January 20, and February 3. This will be an online formative unit exam. Okay? And we will have your first long exam and a second long exam period. So Dr. Ayla will give a lecture on the communicable disease cluster as part of the DOH health programs. So we divided the health programs into 4 clusters: communicable, non-communicable, maternal, child health, and other health programs. So on February 24, we will teach you about the different communicable disease health programs of the Department of Health. So this includes TB, malaria, HIV/AIDS, and the likes. Okay. And on March 3, the community medicine faculty, Dr. Taluka, Dr. Kenneth, and Dr. Rani, will provide you a lecture on task analysis, roles, and tasks of barangay health workers. And we will also bring barangay health workers dun sa lecture. Okay. So this is a workshop again. So this will be the time for you to interview the barangay health workers. So your identified problem dun sa program plan, pag-identify na kayo ng health problem sa program plan, this is now the time for you to interview the barangay health workers. So prepare questions for the barangay health workers. These questions should be concerning about their roles and tasks as to their programs, as to your assigned program. So halimbawa yung program na na-identify nyo is TB, then pwede nyo ngayon tanongin yung barangay health workers, paano ba pinatutupad yung TB program dun sa San Juan? Okay? And what are the roles of the barangay health workers when it comes to the TB program dun sa San Juan? Okay? Yeah. So be ready with questions. So this is an actual interview with the actual barangay health workers of the city of San Juan. Okay? And on March 10, we will have a lecture on non-communicable disease cluster by Dr. Tolosa. So this will include cancer, heart, hypertension, metabolic diseases like diabetes. So yun yung mga ituturo sa inyo dyan. On March 17, I will give you a lecture on adult learning and andragogy, and Dr. Adversario will give you a lecture on course program development and lesson plan. So from the interview of barangay health workers, after you have done your task analysis roles and tasks of barangay health workers in terms of the program that you are going to formulate, then you will create a course program plan and a lesson plan teaching them about that program based on their role as barangay health workers. Okay? Then again, on the second exam period, we will have 2 unit exams on March 3 and on March 17. So ito yung topic na part ng unit exam. For the final exam period on April 7, we will have a lecture on DOH Health Program Family Cluster by Dr. RJ and the other health programs by Dr. Anailes. So yung nasa family cluster, this includes yung mga National Immunization Program, the Under 5 Clinic, and the rest. For the other health programs, kasama dyan yung mga mental health, yung prevention of blindness program, adolescent reproductive and sexual health. So kasama yun dyan. And then we will have our health teaching demonstration. So this will be the culmination of all the things that we have taught you from first year to third year. So for the health teaching demonstration, yung course program and lesson plan that you have developed earlier, yun yung i-implement nyo ngayon dito. So you will teach barangay health workers on the particular topic that you have chosen. Okay? Then on April 21, we will have a lecture on health economics by Dr. Edri and public health administration, also a lecture from Dr. Edri. Okay. So all of our lectures are in our YouTube channel. We encourage you and to open our YouTube channel. So YouTube at Preventive and Community Medicine. So ito yung magiging makita yung itsura niya. So all of the lectures are here from the first year up to the third year, including lectures sa mga clinical clerks. Nandiyan lahat yan. Okay? We would like you to subscribe dun sa YouTube channel namin and like yung mga lecture videos. Okay? Tsaka mag-comment kayo kasi walang nagko-comment sa mga lectures namin. We would appreciate your comments dun sa lecture. Okay. Don't forget to evaluate our lectures and yung mga preceptorial sessions na gagawin natin. So these are the links in Google Forms na ginawa ng MEU for the evaluation. Please evaluate our lectures and the preceptorial session. This is a way for us to improve our lectures, to improve our preceptorial sessions. So whether positive or negative yung comments, that is most welcome. Okay? Yung mga negative comments, most welcome din yun kasi that is the only way we can see saan kami nagkakaroon ng deficiencies when it comes to our lectures and our preceptorial sessions. And that's the way to improve learning not only for the students but also for us. Para yung mga future generations, yung mga magsasucceed sa inyo, at least mas mape-perfect na namin how we deliver our teaching learning activities. Okay? So this will be the grading system for the course Community Medicine. So your cognitive grade is composed of the first, second, third long exam and the final examination for a total of 100%. So ito yung grade na makikita nyo talaga dun sa transcript of records. But we also have our entrustable professional activities grade. So this will be the written reports that will be coming from the workshops. And yung health education presentation, that's 50% and peer evaluation is 10%. Okay? Para yung mga hindi nagtrabaho for your written reports, kasi group work yan, and for your health education, mababa ang bibigay namin grade sa kanila. Okay? Even if you pass the cognitive system, but you failed yung entrustable professional activity or did not participate, then you will still fail the course. Okay? So, kailangan pasahan nyo pareho yan. May pasa nyo yung exam, may pasa nyo etong mga reports and health education presentation for you to pass the course. So, this will be the workshops na isasubmit nyo. Not all workshops na nakalagay dun sa manual kailangan nyo submit. Yung ibang workshop doon is guide, just guide for you. Hindi nyo kailangan isubmit. Pero ito mga to, kailangan nyo talaga itong submit. So, in workshop 2, Philippine Health Situation, this will be an individual submission. Deadline of submission is on January 20. So, andun yun sa manual, pero pag hindi pa kayo nakakabili ng manual, baka i-upload din namin yung workshop guide questions sa Canvas na lang para makasagot kayo. So this will be an individual submission na yung Philippine Health Situation. Workshop 4, prioritization of health problems. This will be an in-class submission. So we will have a workshop sa class mismo. Unfortunately, gustuhin man namin mag face-to-face tayo. We requested, hindi. Sa third year pala may rooms tayo. Okay. So this might be a face-to-face na session natin. Okay? So actual session to sa room. So after the prioritization workshop, magsusulat kayo sa Manila paper or pwede rin na sa laptop nyo in an Excel file. Ay sasabit nyo siya after. Okay? So immediately after the workshop, sasabit nyo na kagad to. Okay? And for workshop 5, program planning. So this is the one wherein you're going to formulate a program plan based on your prioritized health problem. Workshop 7 will be the roles and tasks of barangay health workers based on the interview of the barangay health workers. And workshop 8 will be the course program and lesson plan that you will also formulate and develop. Okay. So ito yung deadline. For workshop 4 to workshop 8, this will be a group submission. Hindi individual, group to. So ayun namin makakadinig pa ng question na, Sir, sa individual ba yung submission? Okay, kasi nakalagay na dyan kung anong klaseng submission. Ayoko rin makakadinig ng question na, Sir, yung workshop 1 ba isa-submit? Sir, yung workshop 3 ba isa-submit? If that will not be submitted, those are formative workshops for you. Okay? We suggest that you answer these workshops because lalabas siya sa exams. Okay? So in workshop 6, workshop 3, 1, 6, and 9 yata yun. Lahat yun lalabas sa exam yun. Okay? Kaya kailangan nyo pa rin siyang gawin. These are the exam schedules. So unit exam 1 will be on week 1, will be based on week 1 and week 2 topics, and so on and so forth. So nakalagay na dyan ng topic. First long exam is week 1 to week 4. Second long exam is week 5, 6, 8, and 10. Please remember that the long exam will include the manuals and Canvas reading materials. Okay? So maraming questions nang gagaling sa manual. A lot of students fail the long exams because they did not read the manual. So yung manual, binili nyo yan, bibigay sa inyo yan, sayang naman kung hindi nyo babasahin. Okay? So a lot of the questions will be coming from the textbook. I think 40% of the questions will be coming from the textbook. So you have to read the textbook and the Canvas reading materials. Otherwise, you will fail the long exams. Okay, so marami bumabagsak because of that. Okay. So second long exam will also include 15 items from the first long exam, and your third long exam will include 25 items from the first and second long exam. Please take notes of the coverage of the exams. Okay, so nandiyan na yung coverage. Huwag na kayo magtatanong sa amin, Sir, ano po ba ang coverage ng exam? Kasi binigay ko na sa inyo yung coverage ng exam. Okay? For the preceptor group, please wait for the announcement in Canvas. Hindi pa namin magawa yung preceptor group kasi nagkakagulo yung enrollment nyo at yung registration. So hindi namin alam sino yung naka-enroll, sino yung hindi. Hindi pa nagbibigay ang IT sa amin ng list ng enrolled students. Okay? For the health education presentation, as I've said earlier, this will be the culmination of the semester of all the courses ng Department of Preventive and Community Medicine from first year to third year. We would encourage you to have an innovative teaching strategy. When we say innovative teaching strategy, it means that we do not want you to give lectures. Wala dapat lectures for the health education presentation. So kung wala lecture, anong gagawin nyo? Kung hindi kayo magle-lecture. So you will have role plays, you will have workshops, you will have games. Yun ang kailangan nyo gawin. Bakit hindi lecture? Remember, your audience will be barangay health workers. So mga nanay yan. So if you're going to be too technical on what you're going to teach them and just give them lecture, aantokin niya mga yan. Especially kung highly technical, purely medical yung pinagsasabi nyo, hindi nila yan ma-appreciate. Kaya antokin lang yan, makakatulog yan, hindi yan makikinig sa inyo. And kung nandun sa kayo sa community, tapos ganun ang ginawa nyo, magwo-walk out yung mga barangay health workers na yan. I've seen this a lot of times na nag-walk out ang mga barangay health workers sa clinical clerks and postgraduate interns kasi purely lecture yung ginagawa nila and pang medicine yung ginagawa nilang lecture, hindi pang grassroots level. Remember, the barangay health workers, not all of them are professionals. Some of them, elementary school lang, some walang education talaga. So if you give them something too technical, hindi nila yun ma-appreciate. Okay? Anong na-appreciate ng barangay health workers? Na-appreciate nila yung mga games. Make them compete. So make a group, different groups, and make them compete, and then provide prizes for the games, or for the health teachings. Okay? So mas na-appreciate nila yon yung mga ganon. Give them things to do. Make a role play. Okay? And make you mga demo, return demonstration. So yun ang mas na-appreciate nila. So that is what we want to see in your health education presentation. No lectures. Okay? This will be a 20-minute duration na health education presentation. So you might ask, 20 minutes lang, paano namin matatapos in 20 minutes yung ang haba-haba, ang dami-dami namin i-discuss. So, and you should include introduction, main lesson, closing, and assessment in your health education presentation. So, since 20 minutes lang yan, we do not expect you to provide the whole lesson plan. Okay, what we want to see are excerpts of the lesson. So, excerpts ng introduction, excerpts of the main lesson, excerpts of the closing, excerpts of the assessment. Not the whole lesson, kasi nga 20 minutes lang. Okay, we just want to see how you're going to provide the introduction, the main lesson, the closing, and the assessment. Okay? This should involve audience participation. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, di ba, dapat innovative siya, games, demo, return demo. So talagang dapat may audience participation. Pag walang audience participation, it means lecture lang yung ginawa nyo. And you will fail the health teaching demonstration. And this should be done in local language. So, ito yung time na pinagtatawanan namin yung mga field foreigns. Are there any field foreigns in the house? Are there any foreigners or field foreigns in the house? Wala. So, good. So, wala tayong pagtatawanan. Okay. And a lot of field foreigners before do not know how to speak Tagalog. So, when we do health education presentation, ayun, the whole class would usually laugh at how they speak Tagalog. Reminder on the liquidation of your research project, please contact our secretary, Ms. Pau. Okay? All of the budget requests were changed by UERM. Okay? So the budget that you requested before were all slashed down by UERM. Do not ask me anymore why. And your batch is still lucky because I think your batch will be the last batch that is sponsored by UERM for the research projects. Yung second year ngayon, mukhang di na siya i-sponsor ng UERM. So wala pang sinasabi ang UERM regarding policies or what will be done for the research projects of the second year this academic year. Okay? So yung batch yung huling-huli na magkakaroon ng funding, pero major slash ang ginawa nila sa funding nyo. So, we can't do anything about it kasi yun na ang decision. So, please contact Ms. Pau for you to know magkano na lang ang natira sa budget nyo and ano na lang ang allowed dun sa budget nyo na pwede nyo pang ma-reimburse. Okay? Meron namang natira, okay, sa budget. I think the pinakamalaki is 8,000 or 9,000 for my group. And may isang group ako na 2,000 na lang yata or 4,000 lang makukuha. Okay? So, have your official receipts ready. Hindi na pala siya official receipts ngayon. Sales invoice na ang tawag. Wala nang official receipt. Tinanggal na siya ng BAR. So, sales invoice na ang tawag. So, have your sales invoice ready. Deadline will be on January 30. So, start processing your liquidation. Pwede na kayo mag-process starting tomorrow. Kausapin niyo na si Ms. Pau para ma-process nyo na yung liquidation nyo and reimbursement of your money. After January 30, no reimbursement will be given and the money will be returned to the treasury. So, please, ubusin niyo yung money kasi sayang, this will be the last batch na magkakaroon ng money given by UERN. So, lubos-lubosin niyo na yung money. Sa inyo naman galing yung money na yan. That is your tuition fee na ibinabalik sa inyo. So, ubusin niyo yung money, make sure na makukuha niyo lahat yung pondo na yan, maibabalik sa inyo lahat. Okay? Any questions on the liquidation or reimbursement? Questions on the reimbursement? Wala? Sige. Pag may question kayo, tanongin niyo na lang si Ms. Pau. Siya naman magbibigay sa inyo. So this will be the official textbook of comment of our course comments, so review notes and manual in community medicine. It will be available. Pao, kailan magiging available yung textbook comment? Next week? Third week pa? And third week of January pa raw siya magiging available. Ayan. So third week of January. So yung workshop nyo nga is i-upload na lang namin sa Canvas. Ay, yung workshop nyo. So get this from our Secretary, Ms. Pau. The liaison officer, please provide the list of officially enrolled students to Ms. Pau kasi nga hindi pa kami binibigyan ng IT na official list. So hindi namin alam sinong enrolled. Para alam namin ilan yung papaprint na textbook. Okay? Conforme, please do not forget to sign the conforme from your manual. This will be the first sheet dun sa manual, first page sa manual. You may turn down the conforme page and submit the same to our department secretary at room 211 JMC building as soon as possible. Okay? We will not accept a photocopy of the conforme. We will only accept yung conforme coming from our textbook. Okay? How to communicate with the department? Please create a Viber community for community medicine for all communications. Meron kayong ginawa na research projects na Viber group, di ba? So, pwedeng yun na lang, palitan yun na lang from research projects gawin yung community medicine. And also, you can use yung Canvas for all communications. Okay? I also gave you the email address and the Viber number of the course coordinators. So if any issues, you can also contact them through Viber and email. Ayan. So good luck sa next generation of UERM 5-star physicians. Do you have any questions regarding the course? Any questions regarding the course? Yes. Is the manual free? Yes. Hindi siya actually free. Binayaran na siya. Kasama na siya sa tuition fee nyo. So, bayad na siya. When can we claim it and where po? Yun, kasasabi ko lang eh. Third week of January. Dito sa office ng department namin. Room 211. So, you can contact Ms. Pau for the manual. Questions regarding the course? Doc, the Viber PC will, Viber GC will contain all sections per block. It's up to you. Pwedeng all sections, pwedeng per section kung gusto nyo. Pero I suggest all na lang, all sections para isahan lang. Don't forget to add me and Doc Doc Ayla, dun sa ano, sa Viber group. And yung coordinators, i-add nyo sa Viber group. Pero meron na kayong Viber group na research projects, di ba? Doc Ayla, di ba merong Viber group ng research projects?
Yes, sir. Meron na po. Pero with LOs lang po yun.
LOs lang ba yun? Okay.
Yes po.
105? Tingnan natin. 105. 105 na. Ayan. $20.25. Ay, o nga. 30 lang to, sorry. Hindi ko nabago yung third long. 30 lang yung third long. 20, 25, 30, and 25. So, thank you for that. So, again, 20, 25, 30, and 25. Ayan. Questions pa po? Also, ilang percent yung unit exam? Wala pong percent yung unit exam because the unit exams are formative exams. So, even if it's formative, kailangan nyo pa rin siyang kuhanin. And as I've said earlier, exams will be repeated dun sa long exams. Alam niyo naman yung aming subject mahilig kami mag-repeat ng questions. Will the unit exams be conducted before the lecture or after po? Magbibigay kami ng announcement kung kailan kung yung unit exam ba is before or after. But definitely, the unit exams, the topics in the unit exams are topics that were given to you yung previous week. Kaya kung makikita nyo, third week yung unit exam, tapos ang topic niya is week 1 and 2. So, na-discuss na yon. So, hindi kami magbibigay ng unit exam sa topic na hindi pa na-discuss. So, all the topics for the unit exams are already discussed. Okay. For the delivery of lectures, the same. Yung delivery of lectures natin, merong videos na nandun sa Canvas and nandun din sa YouTube natin, sa YouTube channel. So, we advise that you view the videos before coming to class. And then yung mangyayari, yung synchronous session natin sa class is not a full lecture anymore, but more of question and answer or summary lecture. Yun mangyayari, or case na lang. Yun ang mangyayari for the question and answer. Kasi we would assume that you have all viewed the lecture already before coming to class. Lahat ba kayo napanood nyo na yung lecture ni Dr. Christian Betita? Sino hindi pa nakakapanood ng lecture ni Dr. Betita sa Canvas or sa YouTube? Please raise hands. Yung hindi pa nakakapanood, raise hands. Yung nakapanood na, thumbs up. Ayan. Mas maraming raise hands. Ayan. Marami rin naman thumbs up. Ayan. So, Doc Christian, I suppose we will give them siguro 30 minutes para i-view yung video.
Kayo, you guys need 30 minutes to watch my lecture? Okay lang naman sa akin. All right, I take it that you guys are asking for 30 minutes. Sige, I'll give you guys a 30-minute break. And then we'll see each other at... Anong oras na ba?
2:15.
2:15. 2:15. I'll see you guys at 2:15. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes po, Doc.
All right, so I'll see you guys at 2:15 then. And then we'll have a summary of my lecture. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Doc, not related po sa comment about sa research po. Wala po numerical grade sa portal and wala po bearing sa GWA. Pass lang po kasi nakalagay sa portal. Yes, walang numerical grade walang magiging numerical grade ang research projects. Starting with the batch 2 years ago, ba? 2 years ago kami nag-start na wala na numerical grade. Before, merong numerical grade ang research projects kasi kinigrade na namin numerically yung research paper nyo and your presentation. But if you will remember, I think sa batch nyo rin nag-start eh. First year kayo na mag-start na exams lang. Hindi. Yung clerk pala na batch ngayon nag-start. Na all of the grades is based on the exams. And since walang exams ng research projects, wala tayong pagkukuhanan ng grade. So, yon. After na nagkaroon ng change ang UERM on how to compute for your grades, nag-change din ang grading system ng research project. So, naging pass or fail na lang siya. Pass or fail siya, pero we have a numerical grade. Kasi nagbigay pa rin kami ng numerical grade for you. Papasok siya ngayon sa EPA nyo. Hindi pa namin alam paano ipapasok sa transcript yon. Pinag-uusapan paano papasok sa transcript. But if you're going to get recommendations from us later on your residency training or for those going sa US, to apply sa US, we can give you your numerical grade for your research projects. Hindi lang namin siya pwedeng ilagay sa Canvas kasi mag-violate kami nung policy ng UERM na exams ang pinagpupuhanan ng grade. Wala tayong exams sa research projects. Ayan. So, any more questions, guys? Questions regarding the course? So, if you have no questions, then you can view the lecture now of Dr. Kishan. So, nung binuksan yung Canvas, ang dami pang estudyante na hindi nag-accept ng Canvas. Please accept yung invite sa Canvas para ma-access nyo yung Canvas. The lecture of Dr. Bitita is in Canvas and in YouTube. So, we will see you at 2:15 for the synchronous lecture of Dr. Bitita. So, thank you very much, guys. And again, please evaluate yung mga lectures. Okay?
See you later.
Okay, sige. It's now 2:20. Let's start. Okay, can you all see my slides on primary healthcare?
Yes po, Doc.
Okay, sige. So these are my learning objectives. Okay. So what is primary healthcare? So primary healthcare is first level of contact of individuals, families, and communities with the health system. It is essential healthcare that is accessible, acceptable, and affordable to all. It is community focused and preventative in its orientation, and the goal is health for all. Now, where did primary healthcare come from? It came from the Alma Ata Declaration, which was in 1978. So this is where the term primary healthcare came from. And this particular document, which was formulated in the city of Alma Ata in Kazakhstan, was significant because this was the first time in history that health was considered a right, a basic right. Okay. So primary healthcare versus primary care. So when you talk about primary healthcare, this is a broad public health approach, community focused, primarily dealing with prevention and health promotion. When we talk about primary care, this is clinical first contact care, individual focused, and this is diagnosis and treatment. So example, vaccination campaigns in the barangay, this is your primary health care. And treating a case of dengue in the clinic, this is your primary care. So when you talk about primary care, this is clinical. And primary health care, this is a public health approach. Okay. So principles of primary healthcare. Core principles include universal access and coverage, community participation, intersectoral coordination, appropriate technology, and supportive policies and financing mechanisms. The key components of PHC are these. And locally, nagtagtag tayo ng itong tatlo. So nutrition and food safety, provision of essential drugs, and sanitation and environmental health. PHC service delivery, so primary healthcare services are usually delivered at the level of the rural health units and health centers, your barangay health stations, super health centers. These are yung mga super health centers. These are basically primary care health facilities. They are primarily situated in large cities, and your community hospitals and sector-based clinics of the Department of Health. And their role is first contact care and referral to higher levels of care. Okay. So PHC workforce and community roles. So the PHC providers, they include your physicians, nurses, and midwives, barangay health workers, and allied health and health volunteers. Okay. And community engagement is essential to the planning, implementation, and evaluation. Primary healthcare and national policy. So this is under the Universal Healthcare Act, your RA 11223. Wherein primary healthcare is emphasized as the foundation of the health system, and expansion of primary healthcare infrastructure is prioritized, and there's a lot of emphasis on equity and accessibility. So current primary healthcare landscape, so expenditure in the Philippines, 748.8 billion in 2024. Around 50% of the population still lacks access to primary care facilities within 30 minutes. And only 2,600 rural health units exist nationwide with very uneven distribution. Okay, so key challenges included limited accessibility, primary healthcare historically oriented to infectious diseases, and they're less prepared for non-communicable diseases, and fragmented service delivery and underinvestment in primary healthcare. And of course, there are opportunities for reform, such as expanding primary care facilities and staffing, improving the referral networks, integrating chronic disease management at the primary healthcare level, and strengthening community participation in health education. So in summary, so primary healthcare is foundational to the health system. This is enunciated in the Universal Healthcare Act. It encompasses prevention, promotion, and treatment, and it requires strong community engagement, and it faces gaps in access, services, and financing, mostly because of challenges in providing equitable services to different sectors of society, lalong-lalo na kasi there is a parang uneven distribution of resources. Okay? So before I move on to sustainable development goals, are there any questions? Are there any questions on primary healthcare? All right, my questions, but before I move on to sustainable development goals, just raise your hand or ask away if ever, okay? All right, sige. Okay, if there's none, I'll move on. Okay. Your screen. Screen ulit. Okay. Oops. Primary healthcare, sustainable development. Okay, so sustainable development goals and community health. So these are my objectives. So so this started as the Millennium Development Goals. So this was from 2000 to 2015. So originally Millennium Development Goals yung tawag dito. After 2015, nagbago na naman yung goals. So initially there were just 8 goals, and ang madaya dito is that it was applied only to developing countries, including the Philippines. It had very disease-specific approaches, and it was vertical in nature, which meant na merong particular sakit na tina-target. For example, malaria, tuberculosis, etc. And there was limited integration of your social determinants. The end result was that mixed yung results. There was success in some areas, pero we were lagging in others. So after 2015, nagkaroon ng Sustainable Development Goals, and from 8, naging 17 yung goals natin. And this was applied to all countries. And there was a leave no one behind principle. So that means that the goals apply to everyone throughout the society, all of the citizens, and nobody should be left behind. So health is embedded throughout, not just in goal 3. Later on, I'll show you the 17 goals na yan. And it used a holistic approach to address root causes of illness. And these are your 17 SDGs at a glance. So if you notice, all of these 17 SDGs, they can be applied to health one way or another. The first 6 can be directly applied to health, namely your poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, and clean water and sanitation. And of course, yung star player talaga natin dito is SDG number 3, which is about good health and well-being. So just applying them. So SDG number 1, no poverty, because poverty leads to poor health. Zero hunger, because malnutrition is also directly contributory to poor health. Goal number 3, that should be self-explanatory. Education involved with health literacy, which is contributory to health-related problems. And of course, your gender equality, your maternal health and gender-based violence, and clean water and sanitation, yung waterborne illnesses mo. Okay. So SDG 3, good health and well-being. So we have several key targets, namely reduce maternal mortality and preventable newborn and childhood deaths, combat epidemics, reduce premature mortality by 1/3, strengthen prevention and treatment of substance abuse, half global deaths from road accidents, and achieve universal health coverage. Okay. This is just to show you the SDG dashboard for the Philippines. So you can view this online. So if it's yellow, it means that needs improvement. If it's red, it means na off track tayo. And if it's green, it means we are on track to achieving this particular metric. So for example, for cereal yield, we're producing enough rice. pero we're producing enough rice for our population allegedly. However, if you look at the price of rice in the Philippines, it is still relatively high. So, okay. As you can easily see, karamihan red or yellow. So we are very, very far from being on track for the Sustainable Development Goals, at least for 1, 2, and 3, and even for 4 to 7. Ano. Dito, for example, for SDG number 6, we have enough sources of potable water, pero yung accessibility or yung distribution of this potable water to communities is still very, very much poor. And this is contributing to diseases related to sanitation. And we have 3 epidemics that are occurring simultaneously, namely your infectious disease epidemics, which remain very, very high burden, like your tuberculosis, your dengue, and your HIV. HIV is particularly alarming because we are the fastest growing in Western Pacific. For non-communicable diseases, we are also rising rapidly. And the leading causes of death in the Philippines right now is ischemic heart disease, stroke, and cancer. And your diabetes, which has doubled actually since the 2000s. And injuries are emerging threats to health here in the Philippines. Road traffic injuries are the second leading cause of death. Mental health and climate sensitive diseases. And of course, we have the Universal Healthcare Law, or RA 11223, which was passed in 2019, wherein Filipinos are guaranteed equitable access to quality and affordable healthcare, goods and services, and protected against financial risk. So, bakit natin kailangan ng Universal Healthcare Law? So, siguro naman some of you have had relatives who have been severely ill or who have required hospitalization, or kahit ikaw mismo, you've required hospitalization. So, what do you think about that in terms of finances? Mura ba magpagamot sa Pilipinas or mahal siya? So generally, it is very expensive. And just to give an idea from my own situation, last year I broke my ankle. And the cost of the surgery itself was quite high. The implant itself was already 50,000. And the OR fee was somewhere in the range of 170,000. So if I wasn't a doctor, and that's not even including the cost of the professional fee for that doctor, I know. So if I wasn't a doctor, I would be spending a catastrophically high amount just to fix my leg. And this will drive me not only further into poverty, pero it's going to be difficult na bawiin yung gagastusin if ever. Okay. So the key provisions of the Universal Healthcare Law are automatic enrollment of all Filipinos in PhilHealth, expanded benefit packages, which would include your primary care and your catastrophic coverage. Catastrophic coverage, these are illnesses that are catastrophic to such as mga stroke, mga cancer, mga ganyan. Improved health facility financing. We've seen improvements actually in health facility services lately. Integration of health systems from the national level to the barangay, and strengthening in primary care. Itong KC and CDDP, this is actually a DSWD program. DSWD. For implementing mga social services. Okay. Hindi siya DOH. So this is an example actually of whatchamacallit? Linkages between government agencies. Okay. So health equity and SDG 10. So leave no one behind faces geographic challenges. Bakit geographic challenges? Kasi there are certain areas wherein people have poor access to healthcare services. Within the archipelago itself, there's a big divide. So for example, sa BARMM, yung life expectancy is lower than in NCR. Indigenous peoples face 2 to 3 times higher maternal mortality. And in the regions itself, clear as day talaga na malayo yung health metrics with one another. Like yung BARM in NCR in relation to stunting, mas mataas talaga yung rate sa BARM. And even with facility-assisted births, mas mataas talaga sa NCR. Okay? So determinants of health, social determinants, poverty, 18.1% incidence in 2021. Hunger, 12.2% undernourished children under 5. Maternal education strongly correlates with child survival. Water and sanitation, 95% water access, but only 60% is safely managed. And the richest 20% get 50% of health benefits. And we are one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world. And air pollution is 3 times the WHO guideline. PM 2.5 is particulate matter, and that's 2.5 microns or larger. Okay. So case study, I just wanted to show that tuberculosis has an impact, multiple sustainable development goals have an impact on illnesses like tuberculosis. For example, poverty, the costs affect 60% of TB-affected families. Hunger, malnutrition increases TB risk threefold. So health, TB incidence, water sanitation, overcrowded living conditions spread TB. Inequality, urban poor have 5 times the higher TB rate. And TB elimination by 2035. Currently, meron tayong 30% case determination. Okay. So mental health is our silent challenge. Right now, we have 3.6 million people with depression and bipolar disorder. There's a treatment gap with 80% receiving low treatment. Suicide is 3.2 per 100,000. There's only one psychiatrist per 100,000 population. And right now, there are cultural barriers to seeking help. And community medicine opportunities include integration into primary care, barangay health worker training, community-based rehab programs, and school-based mental health promotion. For adolescent health naman, mataas pa rin ang rate natin ng teenage pregnancy, HIV, mataas ang drivers natin sa youth. Suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death among 15 to 19 years old, and there is a rising vaping e-cigarette use, together with substance abuse. And our targets would be universal access to sexual and reproductive health care. This is a challenge due to cultural and religious factors, and access to education and health promotion. Okay. So for climate change, the Philippines is vulnerable to climate change. There are direct impacts in the form of injuries and deaths from typhoons and floods, and indirectly through waterborne diseases, vector changes, and food insecurity. And only 25% of health facilities are damaged in major typhoons. And we need climate resilient health facilities and early warning systems. So some success stories in universal healthcare. So Syntaxis were able to generate 500 billion in revenue. The primary care provider networks in Ifugao province, for example, they were able to reduce maternal mortality by 40% in 3 years, maternal deaths pala by 40%. Community health teams, 1 barangay per 20 household target, and early detection of hypertension and diabetes. And your Z-PAT benefit packages, we have catastrophic coverage for cancer, renal disease, and 1.2 million people benefited from the Z benefit packages last year. Okay. So these are the physicians' roles in SDG development. As physicians, you are called to become clinician advocates, community diagnosticians, policy influencers, and educators, and researchers. Okay. So this is the practical framework for SDGs and community diagnosis. So we can use the SOAP. Okay. So your subjective is your community perceptions of health problems. Your objective is your SDG indicator measurements in your community mapping. Your assessment is which SDGs are most relevant and the root causes of these problems. And your plan should be divided into short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans. Yeah. So these are some ideas for community medicine projects that can be implemented. I think you guys will be implementing community health programs later on in this semester. Okay, so we need to have a partnership in order to achieve the goals of our sustainable development goals. And a whole of society approach is needed involving the government, the private sector, civil society, academe, communities, and developmental partners. Okay. Our different SDGs have different metrics, and these are listed down right here. Challenges to SDG achievement include structural barriers, fragmented governance, financing, human resources, infrastructure, policy implementation, political will. And these are our priority actions based on the Philippine Development Plan for 2023 to 2028. It is already 2026, so we have just 2 more years to achieve these. And your role as future community physicians in your training is to learn the SDG framework for community diagnosis, practice intersectoral collaboration, advocate for underserved populations. In your career, we encourage you to choose to serve in underserved areas, lead barangay health programs, participate in health policy development, and of course, to mentor the next generation. So as a final reflection, improving health is not just an outcome of development, it is a means to achieving all other sustainable development goals. And our archipelagic challenge is also our opportunity to innovate, to collaborate across islands, to build health resilience that respects our diverse cultures and environments. And 2030 is only 4 years away. Okay. All right. So are there any questions at this point? Okay, may tanong ba? Clarifications? So you guys understood? There are 17 SDGs. The first 6 are directly related to health. Primary healthcare and primary care are 2 different things. Primary healthcare is a population based approach. Primary care is primarily targeting individual patients. It's a clinical, thing. Primary healthcare was enunciated in the Alma-Ata Declaration in 1978, and it enunciates health for all and health as a human right. So are there any questions? Okay, kung wala, please read the relevant chapters inside of your community medicine manual when you get the chance. They will be included inside of your exam, and please read the contents of the PowerPoint presentation. Nandun na yung PDFs sa Canvas. So please go through them at your own time. And yun lang naman. Kung wala nang ibang questions, you guys are free to go. Thank you for your time.